The snow fell softly in Boulder, Colorado, blanketing the town in a serene white silence. It was December 26, 1996, the day after Christmas, a time when most families were still basking in the holiday glow. The Ramsey family, John, Patsy, and their 6-year-old daughter, JonBenét, had just celebrated Christmas with joy and laughter, their home filled with warmth and love. The house was still adorned with festive decorations, a stark contrast to the horror that was about to unfold, a nightmare that would shatter their world. Patsy Ramsey, a former beauty queen, woke early that morning, her mind still lingering on the joyous celebrations of the previous day. She walked down the grand staircase of their Tudor-style home, expecting to find her daughter's bright smile and the remnants of Christmas cheer. Instead, she found something that would shatter their world, a 2.5-page ransom note lying ominously on the staircase. The note was addressed to John, a successful businessman, known for his achievements and respected in the community. It was lengthy, rambling, and chillingly specific, detailing demands and threats that sent chills down Patsy's spine. The kidnappers, who called themselves a small foreign faction, demanded $118,000 for JonBenét's safe return, a sum that seemed oddly specific. The amount was eerily close to John's recent bonus, a detail that did not go unnoticed by the investigators. This detail, among others, immediately raised red flags for investigators, casting a shadow of suspicion over the seemingly perfect family and turning their lives upside down. As the hours passed, the silence in the house became deafening. Little JonBenét was gone, and the Ramsey family's nightmare had only just begun. The ransom note found by Patsy Ramsey was no ordinary message. It was a chilling and perplexing document that would haunt the family and investigators for years to come. It was lengthy and filled with strange phrases and misspellings, almost as if it was deliberately crafted to confuse and mislead. The note's author claimed to be watching the family, adding a sinister layer to an already horrifying situation. This implied a level of surveillance and familiarity that was deeply unsettling. The demand for $118,000, oddly specific and matching John's bonus, fueled early suspicions about the family's involvement. This peculiar detail raised many eyebrows and questions.
The note? It was written on a notepad from our own house. This realization sent chills down our spines. It's terrifying to think someone was inside, watching us. The thought that a stranger had invaded our personal space was beyond horrifying.
Adding to the peculiarity, the note was written on a notepad found inside the house. This detail suggested a level of comfort and time spent within the home. This suggested the kidnapper or kidnappers had spent time inside the Ramsey home, making themselves comfortable enough to pen such a long and rambling message. It was as if they felt no rush or fear of being caught. Was it a desperate attempt to mislead the police, or a sign of something more sinister? The questions seemed endless, and the answers elusive. The ransom note, instead of providing clarity, deepened the mystery. It left everyone involved grasping for answers in a sea of confusion and fear. The police arrived at the Ramsey residence, a house of grandeur and wealth now shrouded in fear and uncertainty. The once serene and opulent home was now the epicenter of a chilling mystery that gripped the entire nation. John Ramsey, following the instructions of the ransom note, desperately tried to gather the money. His hands trembled as he counted the bills, each note a symbol of his growing desperation and fear for his daughter's life. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Every corner of the house seemed to echo with the unspoken dread that something terrible had happened. Hours crawled by, each tick of the clock amplifying the agonizing silence. The waiting was unbearable, each second stretching into an eternity. Then, a discovery turned the investigation on its head. It was a moment that would forever alter the course of the case.
I decided to search the house again just to be sure. Something inside me couldn't rest until every inch of the house was checked. In the basement, we found her, my little girl. The sight was more than I could bear.
John Ramsey, accompanied by a friend, decided to search the house once more. They moved cautiously, their hearts heavy with dread. In the basement, hidden away in a seldom-used wine cellar, they stumbled upon a sight that would forever be etched in the annals of crime history: the lifeless body of JonBenét. The discovery was both shocking and heartbreaking. Her tiny body was covered with a blanket. The scene was somber, a stark contrast to the life and energy she once radiated. Duct tape covered her mouth, and a cord was found around her neck. These details painted a grim picture of her final moments. The discovery of JonBenét's body in their own home, not at the hands of a faceless kidnapper, sent shockwaves through the investigation. It was a twist that no one had anticipated.
The scene in the basement was heartbreaking. It was a place that should have been safe, now forever tainted by tragedy. It changed everything about how we approached the case. The focus shifted, and the investigation took on a new, more urgent direction.
The discovery of JonBenét in the house shifted the focus of the investigation. The kidnapper, according to the narrative, was supposed to take JonBenét, not leave her there. The finger of suspicion now pointed towards the family, a suspicion fueled by inconsistencies in their accounts and their sometimes evasive behavior. The media, sensing a sensational story, swarmed the case.
The family's behavior raised questions. We had to consider every angle, including the possibility of their involvement.
The Ramseys, once grieving parents, were now portrayed as potential suspects. John, the successful businessman, and Patsy, the beauty queen turned homemaker, were thrust into the harsh glare of the public eye. Every move they made, every word they uttered, was scrutinized and analyzed. The pressure on the family was immense, further complicating an already perplexing case. Section 5. Whispers and Speculation, Theories that Haunt the Case. The JonBenét Ramsey case, with its mix of wealth, beauty, and tragedy, quickly became a media sensation.
Theories about what happened to the young girl ran rampant, each more sensational than the last. Some speculated that the elaborate ransom note was a staged attempt to cover up the crime. Others pointed to the lack of forced entry, suggesting someone familiar with the house was involved.
Theories ranged from accidental death during a staged kidnapping gone wrong to a family member, driven by unknown motives, committing the unthinkable. The public, captivated by the mystery, dissected every detail, fueling an endless cycle of speculation.
The case became less about finding justice for JonBenét, and more about weaving narratives, often at the expense of the truth.
One of the most enduring theories in the JonBenét Ramsey case is that of an intruder. This theory suggests that someone broke into the house on that fateful Christmas night, unnoticed and undetected.
Proponents of this theory point to a broken basement window, which could have served as a point of entry for the perpetrator. They argue that the killer could have entered the house, abducted JonBenét, and then panicked, killing her, and staging the scene in the basement.
The intruder theory, while plausible, lacks concrete evidence. No DNA evidence pointing to an unknown individual was ever found at the crime scene. The broken window, while suspicious, was never definitively linked to the crime. The JonBenét Ramsey case took a devastating toll on the family. John and Patsy, once a seemingly happy couple, faced intense public scrutiny and suspicion. The media frenzy surrounding the case only exacerbated their pain and made it difficult for them to grieve their daughter's loss privately.
The investigation itself was plagued by missteps and controversies.
The Ramseys, despite being under suspicion, were not thoroughly interviewed by police until months after the murder. The crime scene was not properly secured, allowing for potential contamination of evidence.
These missteps cast a long shadow over the investigation, making it even more difficult to discern truth from speculation. More than 2 decades later, the JonBenét Ramsey case remains unsolved. The lack of concrete evidence, coupled with the media frenzy and the many theories surrounding the case, has made it one of the most perplexing mysteries in recent history. The question of who killed JonBenét continues to haunt investigators and the public alike. Was it an intruder who slipped through the cracks, taking advantage of a lapse in security? Was it a family member driven by motives unknown? Or was it a tragic accident, a game gone horribly wrong? The lack of answers only deepens the mystery, ensuring that the case of JonBenét Ramsey continues to fascinate and frustrate in equal measure. The JonBenét Ramsey case stands as a stark reminder of the complexities of truth and justice. It is a story of a young life tragically cut short, a family torn apart by grief and suspicion, and a mystery that continues to captivate the world. Despite the passage of time, the questions linger. Who wrote the ransom note? Why was JonBenét killed? Was it a cold-blooded murder or a tragic accident? The lack of answers only fuels the public's fascination with the case. The JonBenét Ramsey case serves as a stark reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. It is a case that forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge and the enduring power of the unknown.